Hello, my name is Jaden and I am a second year dental hygiene student. I am currently in my last semester of dental hygiene school. I graduate in about 3 weeks from today. So today in my video, I want to explain some tips on studying for the NBDHE, what I did, what could be helpful for you, and I hope that you learn something new that can help you pass this test. In your last semester of dental hygiene school, you have to take something called the NBDHE. This is the National Hygiene Board exam that you have to take and complete and pass in order to practice as a licensed dental hygienist. A little overview of the test: it is 350 questions. You have 200 questions of just multiple choice, and it can be based on any subject that you have taken during dental hygiene school or during your prereqs in order to get into dental hygiene school. And then you have 150 questions based on case studies. They give you a patient case and you have to be able to interpret their radiographs, look at their periodontal charting, and answer any questions that they give to you according to that specific patient. You have about 9 hours, including breaks, to complete this exam. So a little bit about my experience. I took the board during my spring break and I started studying in January. So I took about 2.5 months to study, and it was hardcore studying. I was studying all the time. I was really diligent about sticking to a schedule. I was actually ahead of schedule, which was a good thing because when we were actually able to start signing up for the exam, I wanted to take it in April, and majority of the April spots were taken already. If you wanted to take it in April, you had to do it during the week, which I really didn't want to do because I didn't really want to miss school. And so I saw a date open in March, and it just happened to be over my spring break, and so I took it. And I'm so glad that I did because I was able to get it over with. The biggest question that everyone asks is, should you get student RDH or Andy RDH or dental hygiene seminars or another board review? Where do you start with board review? So I personally had student RDH. I think that no matter what board review you get, it will be helpful. I don't think there's one that's technically better than another. I have had friends pass with many different kinds of board reviews. It just depends on what kind of student you are and what works best for you in terms of studying. So for me, student RDH was really great because it gives you all of the details. It goes into depth on each topic, whereas Andy RDH gives you the most basic breakdown on each subject. So if you look at the two board review books, student RDH is packed full of words and facts and information, whereas Andy is a little more basic and straight to the point. So this is my board review book that I got from Student. It's huge. It was really daunting first getting it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to learn all of this information. It's about 350 pages of information. What I recommend that you do is find out what is your weakest subject and start there first, because you want to be able to spend the most time on that area. The topics that you are more confident in, you can wait to the end, because let's say worst comes to worst and you run out of time, at least you studied what you didn't know, and hopefully what you do know already can come due, whereas you don't really need to review it again. So what's nice about Student is that they give you what's called a pre-assessment test, and they give you questions on every single topic that you'll be tested on in the exam. It will tell you what is your weakest topic and what is your best topic. And so for me, my worst was head and neck anatomy and community, and my best was oral pathology. So I started with head and neck anatomy and ended with oral path, right? And so every week I wanted to study a new topic. I come to find out that you really don't need a whole week for one topic. You can move pretty quickly through them. I recommend focusing on each topic for a couple of days. And if you feel good, move on. If you need an extra day, take it. But if you feel good, just keep on going. And what I did is I did 5 topics, and then I reviewed. And then I did another 5, and I reviewed. That way you are recalling the information. What was nice about Student is that they have these things called summit reviews, where they will have instructors teach you over Zoom the topics, and they will highlight the most important information to know for boards. I know that Andy does something like this. I think Dental Hygiene Seminars does something as well, where you can do a Zoom or an in-person lecture to go over the topics. So for example, here's a page on pharmacology. And so what I did is during these board reviews, I would go in and highlight everything they said was important. I would star it. I also found Quizlets online that went over Andy board alerts. In the Andy RDH book, they highlight different facts and call them board alerts, meaning that there's a good chance it's going to be on your board, and there's Quizlets about that. And so I went through my book and put in all of the board alerts. This is such an intense and elaborate exam. It's not bad if you want to do more than just Student. If you want to look at Andy Quizlets or Dental Hygiene Seminar videos, that's fine. I actually recommend it. Also, something that I did was listen to podcasts on my way to school. I have about a 25-minute drive to school, and so instead of listening to music, I would listen to podcasts that reviewed dental hygiene board information. There's really good ones. If you just look up Dental Hygiene Board or NBDHE on Spotify, that's what I used, you will find so many good ones, and they all really helped me review. And just hearing the information multiple times in different ways is so important, because you'll hear, you cannot memorize. You need to know the topic. You can't just memorize because there's so much information. Also, something that I did was make flashcards, and these were flashcards that I took from my classes at school. So the flashcards that I had already made for my school classes. And then I also made flashcards based on the Andy board alerts or important things that they talked about during the summit review with Student. And you will laugh at how large this pile is. Oh my gosh. I memorized every single thing in this. And that helped me too. I feel like I'm good with flashcards. That's usually how I study for an exam. So I thought, why would I change how I study for the biggest exam of my life? I know people that have taken 2 weeks to study and pass, and then I personally took almost 3 months to study. So every person's different. Just figure out your schedule and start. I personally walked into the exam and felt confident leaving. I know a lot of people feel awful leaving, and that's a total normal response because it is so intense and it's such a big deal. Also, biggest thing, after you take your exam, do not look up any of the questions afterwards, because you will probably remember the ones that you didn't know. They will stick with you. You will look them up. You might get it right. You might get it wrong. But I know that if you just happen to get that question wrong, it will stick with you for those 3 weeks, and it will be torture. It will be so hard to wait knowing that you got one question wrong, and how much more did I get wrong? So that was something really nice for me, is that I didn't look up any questions afterwards. The day before the exam, I studied, and then that evening, I relaxed. I watched a movie, I got a good dinner, get good sleep. Don't study, because at that point, you've done everything you can. There's nothing more that you can learn in that couple of hours that will make or break your score. So put in the hard work now, and then you will feel so good walking into the exam. You can always let me know if you have any questions at all about this exam. It's a lot, I'm not gonna lie. It was the hardest test I've ever taken. It was the most I have ever studied for an exam, but It's so rewarding getting your results and knowing that you passed. And if you don't pass, then figure out a new study schedule and take it again. Thank you so much for watching my video, and good luck. You got this.